Hey guys, how's it going? It's been a while. Still here, sorry. So I was just checking out my channel yesterday. Saw it's been almost 9 months since my last official drum video. I don't count Aero drums, but I was also looking through the last upload that provided an update on where things were at. It definitely came across a lot more woe is me than I'd like, but I guess I was just in a mood at the time. So I just wanted to check in, provide an update. Although not a whole lot of my situation has changed, I kind of just wanted to share a timeline of what has happened, a little of what I hope might happen as well. So I guess to start, I'll just reiterate how I got to where I'm at now, how it affects my big Metallica trip that I have coming up. I'm sure you've heard, anyone who knows me has heard plenty about that at this point. So it all started December of 2022. I decided to purchase an I Disappear pass for Metallica's North America 2024 tour. So this was almost 2 full years prior to the tour starting. I've never really been the big plan ahead type, so it was a big step in a lot of ways. Even more that it was a step in trying to get out of that waiting for the perfect time mentality. And I felt that was kind of spinning me in circles, right? So it could have been a big step to make something happen and do so through rigorous planning, determination. You know, that was the end goal, at least. So I can honestly say at this time, there's been many hurdles. I'll talk about those a little, but it's allowed me something that I was missing before. I guess hope comes across as a little whiny, a little cheesy maybe, but I guess I'm going on 38 this year, so in my 38 years, I've never really felt truly accomplished, or if I dreamed big, it just felt like reality would set me straight. You know what I mean? So demoralizing is definitely, I would say, the best way to put it. Definitely wears on you. Gotten very close to that breaking point of what's the point? It's just going to blow up in my face anyways, right? So that's kind of where this trip stemmed from. It's become my fuel to get me moving towards setting a goal, seeing it through no matter what, really. It's been difficult for some that I've spoken to understand the means that I've gotten here, but I guess with how my perspective has experienced life thus far, from my own experience, this is just what it takes to make it work. So anyways, that being said, bought the pass, had my job at the time working from home. Not a bad gig. It was definitely getting to a point of realization, though, that in order for the trip to work, I needed to change something. So living paycheck to paycheck, like a lot of others have gone through, I'm sure, it wasn't going to work when it came to saving for the trip, getting by, really just enough to pay the bills and nothing more. So luckily the opportunity to move back home on a temporary basis was offered. So I ended up here, in my mom's basement right now. So, think what you will about that, but it is what it is, and I'm perfectly fine with it. So initially this was going to be a great help towards saving. I moved my job along with me, and my income didn't change. So, but my rent decreased, and it was a chance to save money, basically, right? So made the move around the end of September. In late November, early December, get the news that I'm being let go of my job of 7+ years. Nothing that I was at fault for, or so I was told. Just somebody basically having a bad day, seeing my name on a list that had numbers that they didn't like, and they said, get that guy out of here. That's the story I was given, and I've been given no reason to think otherwise. So unfortunate timing, unfortunate circumstance, and just all around just another life thing. So it definitely complicated things. Obviously it was approaching the end of the year. At that point I was about a little over 6, between 6 and 7 months away from this trip, which this trip is going to be a 2-month trip, right? So and I had just returned to Ontario, basically living where I'm at now. So started looking for work. Had the thought in the back of my mind, though, that I really didn't want to find myself in a situation where I'd find a really great job, whether it be paying or something I just love doing or both, just to walk away from it, come July or, when I'm going on my trip. Because, at this point, this trip is happening. It has to, for the sake of my mentality, for the sake of my well-being, essentially. I made the effort little by little of paying for hotel, flight, and by the time I'd moved to Ontario, everything in that regard was paid for. I just needed to save for gas, food, other expenditures, so basically no turning back at that point. Like I said, I had to see it through. So after a while and no job successes, I was able to get on unemployment. It pays the bills and little else. So in the meantime, continuing to look for at least supplemental income, but, haven't had a whole lot of luck there either. So here we are, 2.5 months until I hit the road. Prospects are still slim, with all things considered. So that's the story for right now, and why I say that not much has changed. I was making good enough money to save, had plenty of vacation banked, was saving on the rent. Everything was perfect until it wasn't. So that's the up until this point part of it. So as for the future, at least some of the ideal aspects of the future, just to go into a little bit of detail on my trip. I'm leaving for Foxborough, which is near Boston. That's my first stop to see Metallica. I'll also be meeting up with my good buddy Brian while I'm there, and we're going to see the show together. I'm really looking forward to that. He's a great guy. From there, the next set of shows is actually in Chicago, but basing on the assumption that I might not be around that area again, I had to add a pit stop in Philadelphia. I'm not going to say it's my favorite food, but it's definitely in my top 5. Philly cheesesteaks. I have purposely avoided eating a Philly cheesesteak for the last 2 years that I've been planning this trip, just because once I decided that I was going to go to Philadelphia to have the real deal, I had to save it. So I'm hitting Philly just to get a cheesesteak. Well, let's be real, probably more than one. That being said, next stop's in Philadelphia. From there, I'll be going to Chicago. That's where the next set of shows is. My brother will actually be flying out there. He's not going to the show, but, he wants to see Chicago. It's a, major city that neither of us have been to, so it'd be a cool opportunity to hang out with my brother and, check out some stuff in Chicago while we're there as well. From there, we go to Minneapolis, where the next set of shows are. So his buddy is actually going to be flying there. And the three of us are going to go to the Metallica shows in Minneapolis. So once we've done that, I'll be driving the two of them back to Winnipeg so that they can head home. And I'll actually be going out west to Edmonton for the next set of shows. I'm really looking forward to that stop as well, because I'm hoping to see my old high school buddy Andrew there. I haven't seen him in years. It's been way too long. It'd be great to see him and, his family. Haven't seen some of his kids since they were babies, basically. So, it'll be a great time to, see Metallica and to visit with one of my old friends who I've known for 20 years plus. So, it'll be a great time. And so then after that, I'll be heading to Seattle, which is the last U.S. stop of the tour. So by the time that's all said and done, it'll be a little over a month by the time I get back home from when I left. So it's a month on the road without being home. So that'll be exciting, but also a little bit nerve-wracking. So once I do get home, I'm only going to be home for about a week. And then I head back to Winnipeg, where I'm going to hop on a flight to Mexico City. Now in Mexico City, I'm going to be there for 2 weeks because there's 4 shows in Mexico City. So by the time I get home from that, it will have officially been 2 full months that I'll have been, touring with Metallica, so to speak. So needless to say, I can't even describe the excitement, and at the same time, just certain levels of anxiety, obviously due to the money aspect of the travel, but, just going to so many places, new experiences in a short time, it's going to be incredible, but, also the unknown. It's, I'm not one who gets overly anxious, but there is some anxiety there, just kind of not knowing necessarily everything what to expect. So after that's all said and done, that's where the after plan comes in. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't put a ton of thought into it because, again, I've never been one to really plan ahead. This is already outside of the box for me, so I'm kind of getting through this as it's been a journey, and then moving on to the next thing. But it doesn't mean that there aren't still some thoughts in mind. So I'm uncertain at this point whether I plan to stay around here or move elsewhere. Part of that might be determined by where a job hunt takes me. Whatever opportunities might arise. So in an ideal situation, though, I'll find a job that pays well enough to not just get by, but to try to start getting ahead. That'll be a nice change in my life that I feel like this whole trip and planning and making it happen, despite it not working, ideally in a lot of ways, but still being determined enough and just making it happen. I feel like that's going to be an asset that I kind of give to myself that I didn't have a lot of before, because a lot of it was just, if something didn't work out, okay, on to the next thing. I think that having this in my back pocket, not to say that it's going to be a full-on change, but just kind of as a reference point to say, okay, well, if you do this a little bit more or push this a little bit harder, maybe it'll work in your favor. That's kind of what I'm hoping for out of this. I'm really hoping to use it as that fuel, as that ammunition to push myself maybe in a way that I haven't been able to or haven't been equipped to do before. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm able to set myself up with some sort of employment, some sort of job after the fact that not only pays the bills, but allows me a little bit of extra to try to do something, to do something for myself on a more regular basis. It doesn't have to be a huge trip, but just not be scraping pennies together, if you know what I mean. So once it happens, priority one is getting back into my own place, starting fresh. I definitely appreciate the opportunity to stay here and save a little bit of money in the meantime, but it's not a long-term solution. I know that, everyone around me knows that, and that was never the intention. Of course, I didn't expect to lose my job, so, it kind of put a little bit of a dagger in the ideal situation, but, it was never the intention for this to be long-term. So that's definitely priority one. Now, from there, I would love to get back into drumming. That's not going to happen until I have my own place. So who knows when that's going to happen, but it's on the horizon somewhere. Love to get back into drumming because part of this whole situation, in order to pay for these hotels and travel expenses, flights, whatever, I sold everything. I currently do not have a single drum item at all. So whenever that comes, I am starting completely fresh. So I'm thinking at this point, it's most likely to return to an electronic set. Just makes more sense for space and noise, avoiding the ongoing expense of frequently replacing heads, the urge to buy a new bass pedal or to get another cymbal or whatever. I'm kind of equipped and set to go with the electronic kit. Not to say things don't have to be replaced, but not nearly as often. So that, and the fact that it sounds great. It makes editing so much easier. I don't need additional microphones, other recording equipment necessarily. Like it's all, set it up and it's good to go. And for me, the less hassle, the easier it is to just do the part I like, which is the drumming and the editing. I don't like fidgeting around with the equipment, tuning the drums. Oh, don't even get me started on tuning those acoustic drums. If you've ever watched one of my live streams, you can see the frustration. So that's another big part of it. So that's kind of where my mind's at in that regard. In the meantime, I'm definitely contemplating doing some sort of travel vlog for this trip. but simultaneously, I've kind of talked myself in and out of it. I feel like I'm too boring for anybody to care. You know, maybe that's too blunt or too generalized, but I don't know. I just for myself, I feel like I'm too boring for everyone else. For example, I'm going to Mexico City. There's a ton of architectural sites, touristy things, you know, things that people that haven't gone there or maybe want to go there would like to see and would probably watch in a travel vlog. But those things don't necessarily really interest me that much. Not to say it's not interesting. It's just I'm not one of those people who go a place to see something. I go a place to do something. You know what I mean? So for me, obviously my main thing to go there for is Metallica. But the additional thing in the meantime, really all I'm thinking about is, man, I can't wait to eat that Mexican food. So not to say that there aren't plenty of food blogs on YouTube, you know, reviewing or comparing or what have you. But I just see myself as, this is good. Yum, yum, yum. Not really all that invigorating and not exciting viewing. So, I don't know. But, you know, I could potentially use it as an opportunity to try out some of the YouTube shorts. I've never used those before. Never really felt inclined to do it because I was doing full drum covers. But it could be an opportunity to take advantage of those shorts instead of long form videos, since I don't necessarily have that confidence that I'd have enough to make a full video, or really the ambition to make a full video, if I'm being honest. I'll see as it gets closer, and I'll provide an update if there's something to look forward to in regards to that, but that's kind of where my mind's at right now. So all that being said, here we are. I've talked forever. I'm about to shut up. I just want to make sure, I guess, in conclusion and closing to this, anyone who's gotten to this point, for anyone who did reach out, anyone that was worried or concerned or, you know, interested or whatever adjective you want to use, about me last time in my video, you know, I'm fine. I think it's just kind of the benefit / downside of having a ongoing dark, sarcastic type humor. You know, I'm not somebody who, you know, I feel like has depression tendencies or anything like that. You know, it's just like anything. Anybody goes through hardships and you sometimes feel sorry for yourself. But, you know, it's not one of those types of things where you have to worry about my well-being. It's more, you know, I'm just kind of going through figuring stuff out and venting about it. You know, but that being said, I appreciate anybody's concern, anybody's interest, anybody reaching out, anybody's comments, because I know everybody goes through things every day, different things, and you know, it's never a competition. I never look at that's how I try to live my life. You know, everybody is, your opinion is your opinion, mine is mine. You know, the way you want to live your life is the way you live it. The way I want to live it is the way I live it. You know, as long as nobody's breaking any laws or what have you, you know, you're not hurting me by doing what you're doing, so to speak, and vice versa. So, you know, everybody goes through things. Nobody's is, I'll never be a mine's worse than yours situation, because you know what affects me doesn't affect you, and what affects you doesn't affect me necessarily. So, you know, the worst thing in the world to you might not affect me at all, and the worst thing in the world to me might seem trivial to you. You know what I mean? So, I never want this to come across as something where I want anybody to feel sorry for me. It's more of an informative video. It's more of an update. You know, I do appreciate anyone who has taken the time to view this channel, to subscribe to this channel, to follow this channel. You know, whether you know me in real life or whether you know me through YouTube, I appreciate all of you. And I just feel like, not guilty, but, you know, almost like I'm doing a disservice by just kind of disappearing and, you know, never acknowledging YouTube again, because you guys took the time to subscribe or watch or follow, and I just kind of disappear, right? So this is more see what I did there, the I disappear pass for Metallica. But anyways, again, my humor. So that being said, this is more of a, I really just am venting, speaking my mind, kind of letting you know where I'm at, and take it as you will. Just, you don't need to comment, you don't need to pat me on the back, you don't need to give me a hug, you don't need to punch me in the face. Just, okay, cool story, bro. That's kind of all I expect of a response from anybody, if I get a response. So that being said, I'm hopeful that the trip, all my recent struggles, for what I've been struggling with, will not only help to fuel moving forward, but to serve as an example, when I need that reminder that maybe try a little harder. I'm always going to be smacked around, just like most of us are, by life and the world and everything around us. It's never going to be roses on a daily basis. There's always going to be somebody. There's always going to be a pile of dog poop wherever you step, to put it bluntly. So that being said, as long as we can still continue to move forward, even with a dirty shoe, I'm hoping that this serves as a way to motivate myself. But you know what? If motivating myself helps to motivate somebody else, even better. So here we go. Goodbye for now. Talk to you guys later. See ya.